Four, three, two, one. We are live. What up? It's Mike Pyatt with Bryan Fleming. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit different than we usually talk about. We're usually talking about exact strategies. And I was just going deep into some calculations, segmenting like days and hours within Google AdWords on YouTube ads. But Bryan just brought up a really interesting topic that he wants to talk about today, which is mindset, which I know is huge, just having the right mindset. And you started to say some things about it. I'm like, let's just hit the record, go into it, because I got to hear what's on your mind about this. And yeah, I love the topic as well. So this will be good.
You're a big mindset guy, Mike. You always have been. That's why I don't want to even say I'm struggling with anything, but I know you're really good at this stuff. So I thought it'd make a good call. I took your advice last week. I set myself up a new office. It's a work in progress, but good. I think it was great advice. Just having a dedicated space, and I think realizing your whole internet career, you're going to be making videos, taking interviews. Yep. Hey, if this internet thing's going to buy you a nice condo or a nice apartment or a nice house, get a room for video, right? It's like paying the bills. It just makes so much sense. So yeah, I took over a space. It's actually in my basement, that fireplace behind me. My goal is to get that sucker working. Maybe by next week, I'll have a little fire going back there. Right now? What's that?
You're in the basement?
Yep.
Wow. So
doesn't even look like a basement, does it?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So it's a walkout basement, and it's got like windows along one side, so it doesn't feel like a basement. But the point is, it's a lot of extra space. It's separated from everyone else. I'm going to roll with it. You'll see over the weeks, it'll kind of change. And as winter comes, maybe I'll paint it. But it's my new digs for doing videos. I like it. So great advice. Thanks.
Yep. Nice.
So here's a, I don't want to say it's a dilemma. Here's what's going through my head, right? So I think I've talked that I built my business to a point that I'm happy with it. It's making plenty of money. It's in fact almost exceeding my goals of what I wanted for it this year. And I wrote those out of what it should be, right? Mm-hmm. I still work a day job. I'm happy at my day job. Like life's good. I got no complaints, right? Mm-hmm. And I listen to business programs and podcasts, and the general theory is, if you are doing a business on your own, it's not really a business. It's just a hustle. And you really need a team because you don't have anything to sell, right? You don't have anything to sell. It's just you. And in fact, you really can't grow it that big. So the point is, you need to have a team of other people doing this stuff to get you out of doing that, to do the higher level work, right?
Yes, I agree.
And I hear this stuff and I think, well, if I had your business, a client business, and I'm running ads for clients, or I'm doing SEO for clients, it's like pretty obvious. As soon as you've talked about it, as soon as you get 2 or 3 clients, you're just busy, man. There's a ton of pain and you can't grow until you hire other people. It's super obvious, right? But let's say this, Mike. Let's say you start your book and product business you're putting together, right?
Yep.
And you create the book and you create the product and you take some of your links and you boost a site in Google, and your goal for this product was $10,000 a month. And you know what? You're making $13,000 a month. But it just works. You don't need a team. You don't need a team for this thing. The money just comes in. So what do you do? Is that bad? Like how do you see that situation?
I would say I always have to apply the filter before any information is like, does it make sense to my situation? Because yeah, like I used to take all these things, even if it's like a big guru, like, they say it's so convicted, you can get so convinced, but at the end of the day, it's your life. Like no information will ever apply exactly to your life, no matter how much data, no matter how certain they are. So I would take it like that. I mean, you gave 2 perfect examples. I would say, like, if I got to that, for me personally, instead of like, so I would be like, I only know that I can create the content and stuff. So I would basically like delegate maybe like cleaning the house and like cooking and like everything else I can. So then I can work on that one thing, like creating the content, like the book example. I can't really hire that many people to do it.
Well, here's my point. Right? You set a goal for yourself for 10 grand a month. Now you're making 10 grand a month. Hell, you're making 14, 15 grand a month. And life's good, man. Like life's good, right?
Yes.
Should you just to make it bigger, go for 30 and then get pissed off that you made 25 and you didn't hit your goal at 30, and then when you get to 30, make it 60? And I mean, where does it end, or does it not end in your mind? And I'm just throwing this out there in general.
It comes back to like the beginning, what you said, mindset. It's like literally we can do whatever we want. Like we can play the game anyway and then rationalize it anyway. So really,
yeah, I think that's really, really spot on. Is you can do it anyway, right? You can design your own way of doing it. Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah. Yeah. And I would say, yeah, some people are more the type where they want to keep setting those bigger goals and go crazy. And some are a little more laid back about it. I don't think there's a right or wrong. You know, you can get into so many different arguments like ethics and duty and XYZ and, you know, yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help. I was, you know.
I hear Sarah in the background there. Yeah. Chirping in.
Yeah.
Yep. It's all personal preference.
Yeah,
well, that makes me feel good hearing that, because I think in general, I think things are going really good. I don't even want to say there's like, I don't want to call it guilt, but you almost feel guilty because the thing's going, it's working, you're making a bunch of money, like it's just good, you know. And yeah. I think you do sit there and question, like, well, maybe I should be building it bigger, maybe I should hire people. And here's my thing though. Mike, you got your product business, you're 10 to 15 grand a month. You want to take it to 30, so you hire a bunch of people, and now you're making 30 grand a month, but you're spending 25 in labor, so you're only taking out 5 grand out of the business. You get where I'm going with that. As you bring people in, things definitely change. Things definitely get way more complicated. Like I think a PC Tattletale, right? It is hard enough to get the sales to come in the door, right?
Right.
It would seem much harder to be worrying about getting the sales come in the door and keeping the employees happy, right? Because you got to do that when you have employees, and making sure there's now internal systems in place for the employees to use and blah, blah. Everything just gets more complicated. And one thing I like about what I've built is the simplicity of it all. That it's very simple. I get it. It's probably not sellable. I had an offer of someone to buy it, and they did make me an offer. Maybe that was a reason. But when I was going through that, I realized that it's just better as a cash flow machine than it is sold.
That makes perfect sense. I think, yeah, having that type of like label on this business has to be successful based on like if you're not running it, so to speak. Yeah, it doesn't really make that much sense to me. I think it's just
because I think PC Tattletale and what your product business will ultimately become are very similar. And I think actually what you're putting together with your sales funnel actually, once it's running, would actually be much less work, because you don't, you know, when people buy my Twitter ebook, they don't hit me up for technical support on how to use an ebook, right? They buy it and they're gone. Once in a while, someone will have a question on how to do a technique, you know, that I talked about in the book. But the point is, you'll be able to run this thing on 20 minutes of work a day to make $150,000 a year. I mean, do the math on that. So what if you can't sell it? Your time is mega leveraged, in my mind. And yes, to your point, you could take it one level of complexity up and maybe hire someone to do just the support and get that daily thing off your back. So if you want to take a vacation for a week, you can do that and just kind of check out. And maybe that'll be the next step for me. What I have been doing is working through, I think I talked about it, just the most common themes that come up in the support system, and attacking those one-on-one. If it's a better blog post, or making the software. I did a push last week and just made the setup screens on the software a little more intuitive, right?
Nice.
Because that's, people were not setting up the software right. So just knocking out those changes. From doing that, the ticket loads, it's definitely gone down. I'm probably at 3 to 4 support tickets a day. That's out of a site that has 250 to 300 people a day signing into it now. So I think that's damn good.
Yeah.
Still fighting some technical things and server outages. That's on my list to do, but they happen pretty infrequently, about once a week, once every 2 weeks. The server might go down and I have to restart it. So it's on my list of things coming up. And I'm trying to think of what else is really going on. Kind of went through the autoresponder series today. I think I told you last week, maybe I didn't, that I took the 7-day free trial out, right? And then people were still like thinking the free trial was going to expire, and I had that in my email series. So I went through and cleaned that up today. Interesting, the open rates on these follow-ups, man, are like 60% on the first one.
Wow, that's
It's really high, right?
Yeah.
And then they tail off into the low 20s, which I still think's really high. In the last 2 emails, Mike, and maybe we could flush this one out. It was a scarcity play, right? So people come into my funnel and sign up for a free trial. And I know the basics of marketing. If you don't give them a reason to buy now, they just won't buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one thought behind the 7-day free trial is that it expires after 7 days, and you're going to lose all your data if you don't sign up right now and pay for it. Well, since then, banks really don't want to hear you have a 7-day free trial. And I had a hard time getting credit card processing because I had a 7-day free trial. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So I just made it an unlimited free trial. You can use it as long as you want, but it's a crippled version. You're not going to get to see everything until you pay, right?
Okay.
So I just took the last 2 emails out of the sequence that were doing the scarcity play, and maybe we could think, is there some kind of scarcity play I could make on this product? You download it to watch your spouse, you're downloading it to watch an employee, watch your kid. You get to see some of it, but you don't get to see all of it. Any ideas?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, there's definitely a way out actual like time-based scarcity. I would say like scarcity in terms of like, yeah, what they want to see. Like, don't go another day or something, like your wife cheating on you, like behind your back, or your employee, you're losing money every day or something. Like scarcity, like your money's being lost or your relationships like being lost.
Yeah, those are good plays. It's too bad that so many people are buying it for that reason,
Yeah.
Relationship, someone's cheating on you, boy, you want to talk about a high pain point, right?
True. Is there a way where you could figure out the relationship or the business, like when they're downloading?
Yeah, I thought of segmenting people when they sign into the site. Like do just a page that says, how are you using this, and give them like 3 choices, and it's like set it up to work the best for you, right?
Yes, I like that.
And I think I could get people to self-select.
Yeah.
That might be a takeaway.
I think that'd be huge, because for me, I know I'd care way more about the business, and then for the relationship, I wouldn't even like want to do it. But for business, I feel like it's more like, oh yeah, I can see the ROI. For relationship, I feel like it's too, and probably other people are the opposite. They don't care about the business at all.
You trust Sarah. You don't have anything to not trust her. If she was acting funny, trust me, you would get insane really fast. I've gone through that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I don't want it.
Yeah, no, you're not going through that.
So if you could segment it, I think that'd be huge, and then you could just write emails to that.
I think that's the takeaway here, is that I do need to segment it. And if I wrote the emails, I remember hearing a thing on one of Pat Flynn's podcast, and he was talking about like hyper segmenting your list like that. And he said that he noticed when he could write to a very specific segment about their problem, his conversion rates like skyrocketed, right?
Yeah.
So that could be a double-digit win, right? People self-select.
That's, even thinking back to myself, I'm like, oh, I should do that too,
Yeah. I guess it doesn't really matter how many people a day are signing up. I did like, I think before the call, we were talking about data segmenting.
Yeah. Yep.
I was looking at PC Tattletale sales and trying to figure out like what's the true driver. If I line all the data up, what really causes sales, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. I put web traffic over it, and it didn't really like line up as much as you think it would. I mean, obviously, if you're getting 10x of traffic, you're going to have a few more sales, right? But it wasn't like you double your web traffic, you double your sales. It wasn't like that at all. The one that is very, very highly correlated is installs. If they install the software, like, so if I get a week where I have a lot of installs, I know I'm going to make a lot of money. It might come in the following week, but that money's coming in. If I get a week where I don't get a lot of installs, I know I'm gonna have a light week or so coming in, right? So I know installs are highly related. So people signing up at this point, Mike, we're talking 400 a week that are signing up into the autoresponder.
That's amazing.
So actually, me just saying that 400 to 500 a week are going into the autoresponder. That's enough that I think segmenting those 400 or 500 people out, you could really, really jump your conversions, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the ultimate answer.
Yeah, I think so. That's sweet.
Who are you using for your emailing?
Well, I just use Gmail. So
Gmail.
Custom.
Okay. I'm using Aweber right now.
Nice.
They're getting a little more sophisticated where like I could send out an email saying, if you're concerned about your spouse, click here. And then when they click it, it'll move them into another list, like that kind of stuff. I think marketing wise, that's probably something I could do to bump sales. And, you know, like I said, I don't have to do it. The business is good, but I find that I still like working on it.
Yep. Like
the gamification of it, I guess. I think you still kind of have to be in the game. You don't want to get too rusty because if the wheels fall off, right? I'm sorry, when the wheels fall off.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So I think we can keep this episode kind of short, I guess, because really about all I got to say on it. I think your advice though, and the takeaway is really, really spot on, that we hear stuff in podcasts and on shows, and it's advice, but you really got to look at your own situation, right?
Yep.
And especially if things are going good, like, don't sweat it, man. Like, you're good, you know, don't sweat the advice. It's just advice. It's general advice.
Super general. And in most cases, that person is just pure, like, projecting, you know, exactly what they did, like, for their life, you know, like.
Yeah, it's a good point. They're coming at it from their point of view.
Right. Which, yeah, can have some overlap. And yeah, it's good to see different perspectives, but.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's what I like about what me and you do, man, because we got different perspectives on this stuff for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You have way more of like a science perspective, I would say.
yeah, something like that. But
you should see it. Let me show you this real quick.
All right.
Now this is a bonus time. Let me share my screen. Okay. Like, I was doing some crazy stuff. Like, this is the hour of the day, and this is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So instead of just seeing like where just for a full day or for a full hour, I was combining data. So I was trying to see like, oh, this one, like for some reason, Sunday at 3, it's like, and these are for Vince's book sale. So it's like $10 a conversion there. Versus here, I'm like spending 34 and just getting 1, or spending 32 and getting nothing. I would want to pause those, but not pause the whole day. Or in the other terms, not a single like hour either. So, and then I like
the time the sales came in.
Yeah. Then I was trying to like segment too based on like age.
Mike,
and
just
day.
ask Chris, you know.
And what did he say?
He said you need to make a visual. The human brain can't process all those numbers, and that's what I said.
Yeah, visual data is huge too.
You have to find the
Yeah, the Tableau conference I went to. They talked about that, being able to visualize data. Visuals are called. Vizies.
But I guess would you
We
say?
can't process it, the human brain, so we have to see.
But would you say some of this stuff isn't compatible? I mean, isn't like significantly, good enough?
Well, go back to what you had up there. We'll look at that. Look, okay.
So his value is $25 he makes. So I left him blank if I was like, I don't know yet. It's not, proven. Or I mean, it's not like, I haven't spent enough. But if it's past $25, that's like all he makes is $25 in the first thing. So that's why I was looking for this. So like these ones, 12, 19, 22, those are all profitable. But these ones spending like 47.50 conversion are all losing money. And those all add up, at scale. But it's like, could I just run all these different? I did the math, and there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. Then ages, there's 7 groups, male, female, 3 groups, because there's unknown, parental status, 3 groups, income levels, 7 groups. So you can split it all that way. All of those together at 74,000 different combinations of stuff.
All right. So for this to be valid, right? If I think I know where you're going with it.
Okay.
You should be able to take his previous weeks, right? Like I would just take a day just to prove my hypothesis, right? I would take Tuesday. I'd take that Tuesday from the last 4 Tuesdays, right?
Okay.
And if you do this exact thing for the next 4 Tuesdays and you see this band, these green bands forming, then I think you're onto something. But if you line up all 4 Tuesdays and they look like what you have here, then I'd say it's not statistically relevant. That's just coincidental that they're buying at that time,
Okay.
That's how I would approach it. Then you would have to kind of do that for every day. So I'd take the same day of the week and then lay it out over 4 or 5 weeks and see if, because you may be right that if you're running an ad at 2 in the morning, people are seeing it coming home from the bar. They may not be in the buying mood, right?
Right.
What's the p-value in statistics?
I was trying to look at this.
Do you know what the p-value is, Brian?
The p-value? What are you doing?
I mean, I took the visitors, and we made 49 visitors. Then this is the other visitors for B, and only made 29, and it still says it's not significant. I was trying to see like the confidence, because these things can change, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's my point, Mike. Is that the confidence level isn't very high.
That's crazy.
And it's because you don't have enough data. And I guess the thing is like.
But it's like, so would you stop this or no? So like, okay, so this is hour of the day. So like 72, 66. I mean, this one spent 231 and it only got 1. That seems very unlikely that would. And then like, okay, 3, this is 3 in the morning, got, 5 at 51. So 4 seems more confidently 31 is better. And then let's see, like this one, it's 12. Got 5 for 100. Like, how's that? And then this one at 13. So 1 p.m. So 9 for $55. And like
yeah. Go back to your visual because this doesn't. I can't process that. But if you go back to the visual and you see it, that chart you did, right? That Excel chart.
Yeah, but I took this another level because this is just the hour. So I'm saying, what if the hour on a different day converts better? And then even like hours.
Isn't that what that is? That's the number of conversions in the day and the hour?
Yeah, that's what this is. Yeah. So this is probably better to look at, but then it's like so micro. And then you can like split it different.
But no, you can see the big trends. If this is the hour of the day, we can go back and look at that. You might say that running ads during the week, and look at that. Running it, well, you don't even get money. That's not much cost there. Running ads like up to 3 in the morning doesn't produce sales, right? But then again, what you're saying is it also doesn't spend enough money to justify to know yet, right?
Yeah, like
I think you just need more data, Mike. You need more. You need to like take this and then, as stupid as it sounds, print it off and print off another week and lay them side by side because I do think this visual helps.
Okay.
and make a heat map of when people are buying and see if it lines up week to week. Maybe it does.
Okay.
I see where you're going with it. I see where you're going with it.
Part of me is like, well, 4 at, for $12 a conversion, and then like this one spent, like
it's just coincidental. It's just coincidental until you can line up another week and prove it. And you may see things like,
wow,
maybe I shouldn't be running ads on Friday because I don't make as many on Friday and people are at the bar,
Yeah.
You may see things like that, but it would transfer over week after week. Just to keep it fun and interesting. I know PC Tattletale, when I graph out sales week to week, there's very little consistency, Yeah. So you got like what day of the month it might be. If it's the first of the month, that might be different than if it's the last day of the month. There's a lot of variables there. And gosh, it almost seems like a machine learning algorithm kind of problem.
There is.
And
yeah, I think so too.
Just saying that, I've got to believe the Google Ads team, this is a project they're working on if it's not already baked into the product yet, because they do
what I think that's like, I've always heard about these, but I mean, you probably know about them, like Google Ads scripts. I don't know if you know about these, but like you can make so many different scripts, like 5 awesome AdWords scripts for beginners, 7 scripts, there's hundreds.
I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah, you can just make your own. I mean, they teach you how, and you can just do all this crazy stuff. And like,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, these scripts, like bid modifiers, pausing, deleting based on certain rules, certain like days. Like this guy's doing the exact same thing as me. He's like changing the bid based on the time of day and the exact day, And then mobile, I mean, there's 100 different ones, but pause ads with low click-through rate, pause ad groups, no active keywords. Like you could just do so much crazy shit. And yeah, I want to see if.
Wow.
I think that could be something,
I definitely do. It's crazy that their ad tool has gotten this evolved,
Yeah.
And I think like we were talking before the call too, is like the number one mistake is thinking your ad's showing somewhere where it's not really showing.
Yeah.
I mean, you've already flushed that stuff out. You're just trying to really dial it in.
Yeah. And then with how I'm targeting for Vince's, it's based on the person. So it doesn't even matter really what video they're on. I'm targeting based on certain characteristics.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Like a similar to list.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's how Facebook works, and a lookalikes. Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Wondering, is it showing to the right person that I actually want?
Well, again, you're kind of handing it off to them and trusting they're going to do a good job because you don't have as much control then, right?
Yeah. So I guess I still.
But you're using their AI. You're using their AI and machine learning algorithm to go find those people.
Yeah. So would you have a tool, if you could make a tool, like, do you think it would be valuable to then like crunch all this different stuff and like give confidence scores? Like, okay, most likely or like it automatically scales things that are more likely to work, like a stock market type of thing. Like if this has,
I think that's well, first you'd have to develop the model by hand and prove it, right?
Yeah.
And then you could do it by hand and prove it. And then the last step would be to write code to do it. So you don't have to push the buttons, right?
Yeah.
That's how I would approach it. Yeah, I think overlaying data on different.
How do you know which data to overlay? Because like every time.
Well, you don't. That's the hard part. Is that's the real work? Is you don't know.
Every time I overlay, I'm like, oh, gender, like parental status, or income level. But then I put it against another one, and then but then when I put it against 5 different dimensions, and it's all like spread out so thin,
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah.
So that's.
time. I don't know if with like gender it really matters comparing, because with gender you would just compare like men versus women, right? I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah,
This one's strange because you're trying to do time of day and you have no basis to build it up off of. I don't know if I'm even explaining that right. The time one's just like a different animal.
but then like what about like age? You do age. So then like, okay, so you can see like 18 to 24, 68.
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at age.
25 to 34, 48 per conversion, and it's got 44. So like, wouldn't I want to spend all my budget towards like this one and then like lower the budget with this one or something? Like, 'cause it's,
Yeah, totally.
they're still not, it still could change. Is that right? Like it's not statistically proven where this could actually perform better later on, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say that 10 conversions is not. I would think you'd have to have, you know,
A lot.
hundreds, thousands. The more you have, the more relevant it is, right?
Yeah.
But what you're doing here, Mike, you're doing the right stuff. This is what Vince is paying you for. This is the hard work of what dimensions will work and trying stuff and seeing that stuff doesn't work and just looking at it.
Yeah.
Doing the right things.
I mean, so what about this? Things like if you see, okay, you spent 85 on Wednesday and got nothing, but Thursday you spent 84, even less, and you got 3 conversions for the 28, which is much better than this. So it's like, can you even stop Wednesday for this age group? Or is that just
go to the previous week and see if that's true again? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
this week's one data point. That's one data point, and then go to the next week and do another data point and start plotting it out and see if your hypothesis holds true. Well, let's see. Why don't you do the previous week? Just do the previous week and see if Wednesday at that time thing it had any sales.
Well, this campaign is paused right now.
Oh, I see. You're doing a huge date range too.
Yeah, I'm doing all time. So
oh,
a lot of months.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So does that change it? Does that integrate more time? Yeah, this is throughout time, like probably about four to 6 months, I'd say.
I see. Okay. Okay. So now that's already doing what I was saying. It's already aggregating it.
Okay. Well, that's good. And so I can put more. I have specific campaigns, like the most recent one, but there's older one for more data. So I guess I could take the more data approach. But then you could say, so if it was through a date range of 6 months, then you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say just on that time slot, just don't show the ad. I've spent a lot of money for whatever reason it doesn't convert at that time slot.
But you wouldn't then cut off like the whole day or the whole like age group. Would you try to cut these off like just piece by piece? Because you know what I'm saying? Because I used to thought I was so cool I could just do full days or just do age groups. But now I'm realizing it's ages plus is all these combinations, you know?
Yeah. And what ad did they see exactly? Right?
Well, there is just one ad, thankfully.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. It's just one ad, one offer.
Yep. Just for that.
And they buy right away, right?
Yeah. Most of them buy right away. Yep. Few.
Yeah. If you're doing this long of a date range and you see big gaps where you spent a bunch of money and they did not convert, I would look at cutting those, just like filtering those out, right? I don't even know how you would do that, but
yeah, it's actually a big ass pain. You can't just click this stuff and stop it.
Why don't you let's just do it by hour and can you just get rid of the age dimension and just do day of the week and hour?
Yes.
Yeah. Are there any holes where you spent a significant amount of money and just didn't make any sales? Yeah, you could cut those times out. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what this is. This is like a little bit less data than I think I expanded my
okay,
campaign.
so this is okay. This is already doing what it already did it. It already did what I thought.
So you would pause this based on this. Like Would you? Would you?
I mean, I'm just trying to look at some of these numbers.
Okay. Yeah, this is cost.
I don't know. I don't know the threshold, and it is a bit of swag. These spends look pretty low.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I think I'd have to see more data again, but I think you're on the right track. If you're spending hundreds of dollars at a particular time and getting no conversions, and another time's just killing it, of course you should load the spend at the time that's killing it, right? Like 150% budget increase.
Yeah.
So let's assume all these numbers are times 10.
Right.
Some of those ones where if you spent like $200 and didn't get a conversion, and then the very next hour you spent $200 and got 10 conversions, yeah, I think I'd start shutting off times.
Okay. And then also, yeah, somehow I have to figure out like what is the most like difference. Like what is it, times that are the most important, or is it like ages, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd have to figure out like what's the most important thing. Is it time or age or, you know, parental status or income level? Like what would make the most difference, right?
Yeah, what's the real driver, right? It may not be hours.
Right.
It might be, yeah, something different. It seems just at a high level, Mike, like this kind of product, it doesn't feel like it would be time sensitive one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you run into things in the data. We can go look at it. Thing like maybe during lunchtime, people they're at lunch and they can't buy it, right? But they tend to buy it in the evening when they're sitting on their phone. So maybe you do see things like that.
Yeah. Let's see. So if I get rid of day of week, I mean, yeah, like that one you said at 2 a.m. it doesn't work as well, but then hit 4 a.m. you get 11 for 31, you know, per conversion. Like,
that's like super interesting.
Yeah. And that's what I'm wondering too. Like, even if it's not like true in reality, sometimes I want it to be like, well, that's what the data says. So why not show this one at 7? Then you get 19 for 31, you know?
Think about like 4 in the morning. People are waking up and thinking about working out, right?
Yeah. But I guess the question is like, yeah, how much would this change over time?
Well, it's like you need huge, and this is where I don't know if it's really even practical. You need huge amounts of data, and you also need the campaign to be kind of stable, right? If you've been monkeying with this thing over 6 months,
yes,
who knows what they saw? It's not really fair to say it's a time.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, this stuff is pretty far out there.
But to your point, man, you got to have your head in it.
Yeah,
you got to be thinking of it, and the bitch of it is, I'll bet every campaign's different.
Yeah, I'm on that chapter of explaining this part of refining, and that's each time I wrote a chapter, I've like had major insights of how I do things.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I think something with a script would be cool to like automate this, because I know like we have our account for SEO, and like Sarah just can't like give it the time of day, you know, and I don't either, you know. I'm just not as motivated in that realm anymore.
Well, the automation is it's like an extension of you doing it, you know.
Yeah,
you got to do it for a long time and get really good before you can automate anything, and it's like that, doing it and getting good parts just where all the work's at.
True. So would you say figure out which is the most like biggest difference of day, time, age, or thing like that?
Yeah. And I think what you were doing is on the right track. Like we looked at age, and I didn't see any that like really jumped out at me. They all look pretty similar. Right?
I think so. Let me throw it back in here real quick.
Maybe geography. You probably looked at that by state. Maybe some states.
Yeah, that's probably huge.
States or city even.
Yeah, I didn't even look at that. So then, yeah, that's why I get confused, is because I always see like every time I do one of these, I see like, oh, that's a big winner and big loser, but then it's like it's got to be overlapping somehow in some weird way, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's finding that one of those things will be a bigger driver than the other, and I think you just tackle the biggest one. So I think I would look at, like, we look at the ages. I don't see an outlier there. They all look within 40 to 50.
Yeah.
There isn't one that's like 100 and one that's 10. I don't see a $10 cost per conversion.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we got undetermined, right?
Yeah, that one's
undetermined. So you would shut that off.
Yep. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'd look at it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, yeah, you can just be, yeah, you just, yeah, I got to see what the biggest driver is.
Yep. And I think if you just try the different ones like this, you'll see some that just like really pop.
Right.
And maybe, Mike, on your chapter, it's just going through all these different data points and looking for the outliers.
Is that how you do it though? I'm trying to figure out, really like crack the code. I'm like, so you just always like go through and then, or is it though that you can't pick one thing because then you have to overlap it with something else? Like if I Sunday wasn't converting, but what if the morning Sunday was converting really well and then Sunday the night was converting really bad? So would I have to do that type of like looking at it too? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm here.
So yeah, that's what I'm going through right now. So
I guess it's pretty cool. I think what's really cool is you've got a product that's converting. It's converting at a realistic price.
Yeah.
We got to play with, like, huge, man.
Yeah. It's just how much can you then like find all those winning combinations and how much like scale is that still, you know?
I think as you do it more, you'll find a good rule of thumb. And that would be good to put in the book what that rule of thumb is.
Yeah. Like, have you ever looked at like your hours and days when you did AdWords? Would you segment based on those?
No, because my problem was like this. I would get 9 out of 10 keywords were just straight up losers. And maybe if I looked at time of day, maybe I could have got them close to ROIing, but they just weren't even that close, right?
Right. Okay.
And then out of 10 of them, that might be 8 or 9, and then 1 or 2 of them either kind of worked or worked really well, right? And then the ones that work really well, they get like 10 searches a day. It's just not enough traffic to really justify it all, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I found. So in both cases, they were clear losers. Could I have gone? That's interesting. Could I have gone to day a week? I don't think it would have mattered because they weren't like even in the race. And then the one that was killing it, I just couldn't throw enough money at it to make it like scale, right?
It makes sense. So you would need a lot more data, and then you think it may not even matter.
I would say if there were keywords that were close, keywords that I spent 75 cents or I spent $1 and made 80 cents back, like they're close, right? Mm-hmm. Then I think those ones that are close, I think I might monkey with them to try to get them to ROI.
Or what about?
But mine weren't you. What's
like,
that?
Think different states would convert differently too?
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Then you can do cities. You can even do neighborhoods with Google Ads.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we don't need to get to that scale, but it'd be interesting to look at it. You might find there's areas of the country that do convert very high. They have a lot of disposable income. They're health conscious. You know, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Well, good to know. I may email you with some questions and all this data stuff. I'm really trying to.
Well, hey, let's get into it next week. It'll be your week. We'll run through different data scenarios and kind of talk that out.
That sounds good. Stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah. I think we're at a good stopping point, eh?
Yep. I missed yoga, but I'll still do some sort of exercise. Get off the computer.
All right.
A few minutes. All right.
Take care, guys.
A lot of value out of that. Take care. See ya.